4 years have passed, and yet a sheepdog still remains in that same spot, faithfully waiting for his old master to return. Through countless storms and the relentless passage of time, his familiar figure endures, a silent testament to unwavering hope and loyalty that has never wavered. Dusk settled over the quiet outskirts of a small town in Colorado, tinting the sky with soft hues of purple and orange. Beneath a broken street lamp near an old gas station, a German shepherd named Buddy stood as a silent guardian. For 4 long years, he had remained in that spot, a lone sentinel enduring scorching summers and bitterly cold winters alike. As the wind whipped around him, stirring up dust and fallen leaves, Buddy stayed resolute, his gaze fixed on the horizon. His coat, though worn and dusted with debris, carried an air of dignity. Ears alert and eyes ever watchful, he scanned every passing car with a poised determination, as if expecting an arrival that never came. Locals marveled at how he braved fierce thunderstorms and relentless snowstorms, yet every sunrise found him in the same place, unyielding in his vigil. It all began 4 years ago when whispers of a missing German shepherd began to circulate through the tight-knit community. Few knew that Buddy was not merely lost. He was waiting for his family to return, to reclaim the life he once knew and mend the emptiness in his heart. Day after day, week after week, and year after year, no familiar face broke the horizon. The town had grown accustomed to his presence, despite the kindness of those who offered him shelter. With unwavering loyalty, he clung to the hope that one day the Carter family would come for him, and that his wait, filled with steadfast love, would finally be rewarded. Children returning from school would notice him sitting quietly beneath the overhang of the old gas station. Occasionally, they would tiptoe closer with their sandwiches, hoping to offer him a treat, but Buddy would merely wag his tail in a brief acknowledgement before stepping aside, leaving the food a few paces away. Even from afar, one could see the sorrow in his eyes, a quiet, enduring sadness that seemed to understand that every act of kindness was temporary, except for the one kindness he yearned for above all. Local whispers spun various tales about his past. Some said he had been abandoned by heartless owners, while others claimed he had once been a loyal guard dog who lost his master. Despite all the speculation, no one truly knew the real story. Grace Reynolds, a sturdy silver-haired woman of 58, had owned the nearby diner for over 2 decades. Known for greeting every customer by name and remembering their favorite orders, she prided herself on doing right by everyone, including animals. The first time Grace noticed Buddy, he was nibbling on stale bread near a dumpster behind her diner. Concerned for his well-being, she decided to help. Every morning, before flipping the diner's sign to "Open," Grace would place a fresh bowl of water and a generous portion of dog kibble near the dumpster. At first, Buddy would not approach while she lingered, so she learned to set the bowl and discreetly move away. Soon she could catch a glimpse of him through a kitchen window, cautiously slinking toward the bowl with his tail lowered, but giving the slightest wag. He ate in silence, ever alert as he glanced around. Inside her cozy diner, Grace would tell her regulars, "That German shepherd is waiting for someone. I can see it in his eyes. He's not just roaming, he's on a mission. I'm sure that someone will come back for him." Her words struck a chord within the community. Many felt deep pity for Buddy, and several tried to involve local rescue groups to find him shelter. Yet, no matter what was done, Buddy would always return to his post by the gas station, unwilling to abandon his vigil. For Grace, feeding Buddy was more than a simple act of kindness. It was an act of faith, a quiet support for a loyal dog who never stopped believing in the return of his lost loved ones. One crisp autumn morning, investigative journalist Joseph Patterson drove into town on a brief assignment to cover a local environmental issue. However, whispers about a legendary dog lingering by the gas station quickly caught his attention. Intrigued, he stopped by Grace's diner and inquired about Buddy. Always eager to share her story, Grace recounted the saga over a steaming cup of black coffee, detailing the dog's mysterious arrival 4 years ago, the many attempts by neighbors to adopt him, and his quiet, steadfast defiance in the face of every offer. Joseph listened intently, his journalistic instincts alight with the potential of an underdog story steeped in loyalty and loss. Armed with his camera and notebook, Joseph ventured to the gas station, approaching cautiously. At first, Buddy observed him from afar, his amber eyes a mix of wariness and a hint of curiosity. Joseph captured several photographs, noting the regal curve of Buddy's neck, the worn patches on his fur, the subtle limp in his back leg, likely from an old injury, and the small tear in his right ear, all dusted with the passage of time. "This dog isn't just a stray," Joseph murmured as he adjusted his camera's focus. "There's a story here, a tale of unwavering faithfulness and heartbreak." Determined to unravel Buddy's past, Joseph dove into online forums, social media groups dedicated to reuniting lost pets with their owners, and local archives. His perseverance paid off late one night when he discovered a missing dog notice from 4 years earlier. The post described a German shepherd who had vanished amid a chaotic evacuation triggered by a massive fire that ravaged a residential neighborhood. The notice was from the Carter family and read, "Please help us find our beloved German shepherd, Buddy. We evacuated our home due to a fire and lost track of him in the chaos. He has a small tear on his right ear and a slight limp in his back leg. If you see him, please contact us immediately. He is a cherished member of our family." Joseph's heart raced with excitement. Every detail matched perfectly. The tear, the limp, and most importantly, the name. Buddy. Although the contact information was from 4 years ago, and its current validity was uncertain, further investigation revealed that a large bushfire had indeed swept through the area, forcing an immediate evacuation of several suburban homes. In that frantic rush, the Carter family had apparently lost Buddy. Suddenly, the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place. Buddy's steadfast presence by the gas station might not have been random at all. It could have been a place he once frequented with his family, a final remnant of normalcy before disaster struck. Without wasting any time, Joseph prepared a short article titled, "4 Years of Loyalty, The Dog Who Never Gave Up," ready to share Buddy's poignant story with the world. Before publishing his story, Joseph wanted to verify every detail. He scoured local news archives from 4 years ago, uncovering interviews with displaced families, dramatic footage of firefighters battling raging flames, and heart-rending accounts of pets that never made it out. In one broadcast, the Carter family appeared with tear-streaked faces, recounting how they had only minutes to evacuate amid billowing smoke, screaming neighbors, and blaring sirens, during which they lost sight of Buddy. Forced onto an emergency vehicle, they had no choice but to leave him behind as the inferno swallowed the block. Buddy, bewildered by the chaos, must have fled in terror, eventually finding refuge near the gas station, a safe distance from the disaster. There he remained, steadfast in his belief that if he waited long enough, his family would return. It was the pure loyalty of a dog who had loved his family deeply. Joseph was moved to tears as he read more testimonies from families who had lost everything in the fire. Many had relocated, some even moving out of state, and it was entirely possible that the Carters had done the same, unaware that Buddy was still alive and waiting. This discovery transformed Joseph's narrative from a simple tale about a stray dog into a poignant story of a broken bond yearning for repair. With his investigation complete, Joseph published his findings on a reputable news site and shared them widely across social media. His post featured a moving video montage of Buddy, sitting forlornly under the early morning sun by the gas station, quietly drinking from Grace's bowl of water in the afternoon, and pacing the parking lot at dusk. Accompanying the footage was Joseph's heartfelt plea. This German Shepherd named Buddy has been waiting in the same spot for 4 years. We believe he belongs to the Carter family, who lost him during the chaos of a devastating fire. If anyone has information on how to contact the Carters, please share this story. Let's reunite Buddy with the family he never stopped loving. The internet responded with overwhelming empathy. Thousands from around the globe liked, shared, and commented, moved by Buddy's unwavering loyalty and hopeful that the Carters would eventually see the post and recognize him. While offers for adoption flooded in, Joseph gently reminded everyone that Buddy was still waiting for his true family. In just a few days, the hashtag #FindBuddy'sFamily trended on social media. Users from various countries tagged acquaintances with the surname Carter, or those who might have lived in the affected region. Grace's diner phone rang off the hook with reporters seeking interviews, and Wellington's humble gas station became an unexpected tourist attraction as people drove in to catch a glimpse of the legendary waiting dog. Meanwhile, in Denver, a city about a 10-hour drive away, Emma Carter sat in her living room, scrolling through her newsfeed after a long workday. She had never forgotten Buddy. In quiet moments, she recalled his joyful bark, the way his eyes sparkled when she returned from work, and how he would nap by the fireplace on chilly winter nights. But those memories always came with a bittersweet pang of guilt and loss. The fire had stolen so much from them: their home, their sense of security, and most heartbreakingly, their beloved dog. Then a headline caught her eye: a loyal German Shepherd named Buddy. Emma nearly dropped her phone as she clicked the link. The moment she saw the distinctive tear on the dog's ear, her heart skipped a beat. Tears blurred her vision as she read Joseph Patterson's article and watched the accompanying video. Every detail, the dog's stance, the way he tilted his head, the coloring of his fur, was unmistakably Buddy. With trembling hands, Emma rummaged through old documents to find the phone number listed on the original missing dog flyers. She recalled posting on a local forum, leaving behind a number that was now disconnected. Overwhelmed, she searched for Joseph's contact information, desperate to confirm what her heart already believed. The dog in the video was her Buddy. With trembling fingers, Emma dialed the number she found in the article's footer. When she heard Joseph Patterson's voice on the line, her emotions spilled over in gratitude and disbelief. She explained who she was, choking up when describing the day they lost Buddy. "He was family," she whispered. "We tried to find him, but the fire almost burned everything down. We never forgot him." Joseph exhaled, relief flooding him. It was the call he had prayed for. Buddy's story was coming full circle. Emma Carter's 13-year-old son, Owen, had been just 9 at the time of the fire. He remembered that day vividly: the acrid smell of smoke, glowing embers falling like rain, and Buddy barking frantically as firefighters ushered them into a rescue vehicle. Since then, many nights had passed with Owen dreaming of Buddy bounding up the driveway, only to wake with tears of disappointment. When Emma burst into his room that evening, his heart pounded with anxiety over more bad news. But the look on her face was different, filled with trembling hope. Handing him her phone with Buddy's video paused on the screen, Emma silently conveyed that something was about to change. The moment Owen hit play and saw the worn yet familiar face of the German Shepherd, tears welled in his eyes. The proud stance and gentle gaze stirred all his childhood memories. Overcome with emotion, he whispered, "That's Buddy. He's been waiting for us all this time." Even though it was late in the evening, the Carters wasted no time planning their trip. Emma quickly contacted Joseph, who gave them the address of the gas station in Wellington. Owen scurried around the house, gathering essential items: an old leash, Buddy's favorite chew toy, miraculously saved from the fire, and a blanket that still held faint memories of their old home. At dawn, the family piled into their SUV, Emma, Owen, and Emma's sister, who had been living with them since the fire and shared an enduring love for Buddy. They faced a 10-hour journey, their hearts filled with both excitement and anxiety. Owen stared out the window, imagining the moment he would finally see Buddy again. Would the dog remember him? Would Buddy harbor any resentment for having been left behind, though it had never been their choice? As the landscape shifted from urban sprawl to rolling plains, and finally to the rugged foothills near Wellington, conversations in the car ebbed and flowed between optimism and trepidation. Emma reassured Owen that dogs possess incredible memories and deep emotional capacities. They don't hold grudges like humans might. If Buddy recognized their scents and voices, he'd be overjoyed. Still, Emma occasionally gripped the steering wheel until her knuckles turned white. A heavy silence fell over the car as they approached the final stretch. None of them spoke, their anticipation palpable as the familiar gas station emerged on the horizon, the very spot that had borne witness to Buddy's unwavering loyalty. Joseph and Grace stood by their cars, waiting to greet the Carter family. The sun was just beginning its slow descent. The gas station was bathed in a warm orange glow. Grace had brought along a generous portion of dog treats, while Joseph clutched his camera, aiming to capture what he hoped would be a heartwarming reunion. Owen jumped out first, scanning the lot. His eyes lit up when he spotted the familiar silhouette lying by the rusted fuel pumps. The German Shepherd raised his head, ears perked. He sensed a shift in the atmosphere, as if some long-lost harmony was about to be restored. "Buddy," Owen called, voice shaking with emotion. The dog froze, eyes locking onto Owen. It was the voice from his memories, the one he had waited so patiently to hear again. In a split second, Buddy shot to his feet, limping slightly from the old injury. For a heartbeat, dog and boy stared at each other across the gas station lot. Then Buddy bounded toward Owen, tail moving in frantic arcs. Owen ran to meet him, dropping to his knees. Buddy collided with him, burying his muzzle against the boy's chest, whining in sheer joy. Tears streaked down Owen's cheeks as he embraced his long-lost companion. Emma approached slowly, calling Buddy's name with a tremor in her voice. The dog recognized her too, pressing his head into her outstretched hands. She felt the coarse fur, the warmth of life, and the pound of a heart that had waited 4 endless years. Across the street, a few bystanders looked on, touched by the scene. Grace dabbed at her eyes, mumbling, "I knew this day would come." Joseph snapped photos, but even through the lens, his own vision blurred with tears. Emma thanks Grace for bringing Buddy food every day, and thanks Joseph for the article that brought them together again. Eventually, the Carters led Buddy to their SUV. He was a little hesitant at first because he had stood at this gas station through hot summers and white snowfalls, but Owen's gentle reassurance calmed him down. As they drove away from Wellington, Buddy lay with his head on Owen's lap, eyes half closed in contentment. Every so often, he'd lift his gaze to look at Emma in the driver's seat, as though verifying that this wasn't just a dream. Their new home in Denver was worlds apart from the neighborhood they'd lost in the fire. Bigger, brighter, and safer. But it was also alien to Buddy. The moment they opened the car door in the driveway, Buddy stepped out gingerly, sniffing the concrete and the fresh lawn. He glanced around at the unfamiliar yard, ears pinned back in uncertainty. Though it was comfortable inside, Buddy wasn't prepared to embrace it. That first night, while Emma and Owen tried to coax him in, Buddy stubbornly lay by the front door, unwilling to budge. For 4 years he had survived on his wits, ever watchful, never letting his guard down. The transition to domestic life wasn't going to happen overnight. He whined softly when Owen insisted he come inside, so the boy finally grabbed a pillow and blanket, plopped them on the floor next to Buddy, and spent the night by the door with him, offering silent companionship. While the rest of the household slept in their own bedrooms, Buddy continued to stand guard by the door. Sometimes he'd doze off, muzzle resting on his paws, but every creak or shuffle in the house caused him to jerk awake, scanning the darkness for potential threats. Owen stirred at his side, groggy, but determined not to leave Buddy alone. Over the next few days, the family tried various strategies. They set up a cozy dog bed in the living room, tempting Buddy with treats and soft blankets, but he remained fixated on the door. Emma spoke soothingly. "You're safe here, Buddy. No one's leaving you again." But the dog's eyes spoke volumes about his fear of abrupt change. He'd lost them once. Perhaps, in his mind, staying close to the exit ensured he'd never be abandoned again. A week into Buddy's homecoming, the family woke up one morning to an unexpected sight. Buddy was sprawled on the plush dog bed in the living room, his chest rising and falling in a peaceful rhythm. Sometime in the early hours, he had chosen to leave the door and settle on the bed. When Owen tiptoed in, Buddy opened one eye, but didn't move. It was a small sign, a major victory. From that day on, Buddy seemed more open to exploring the house. He followed Owen into the kitchen, sniffing around for scraps. He trailed Emma to the laundry room, cocking his head at the hum of the dryer. Each new room was an exercise in trust. That afternoon, Owen found Buddy napping in a sunny patch near the sliding glass door. A smile lit the boy's face. He sat down next to the dog, softly running fingers through the thick fur. "I'm so glad you're back," Owen whispered. Buddy nuzzled against him, a gesture of acceptance. It was a moment of tenderness that the family desperately needed, a sign that old bonds were still there, waiting to be rekindled. One evening, the Carters decided to relax in the backyard. Summer was giving way to fall, and the air had a refreshing chill. They laughed, told stories, and enjoyed grilled food under the starry sky. Buddy lay a few feet away, content to watch them, ears twitching at nighttime crickets. Suddenly, a deafening crack and a burst of color illuminated the sky. A neighbor down the street was testing out fireworks, perhaps for an upcoming holiday or celebration. For Buddy, the explosion felt like a return to the fire's chaos. His hackles rose, muscles tensed, and in one swift move, he bolted toward the fence, eyes wild with panic. Owen sprang from his chair, toppling his plate of food. "Buddy, wait!" he yelled, heart pounding. He chased the dog through the side gate and down the street, breath ragged in his chest. The fireworks popped again, echoing off suburban rooftops. Every crack reverberated in Buddy's mind as a reminder of the inferno that had torn him from his family. He kept running, guided more by fear than sense. Owen finally caught sight of Buddy several blocks away, near a small park. The dog stood panting, eyes darting. Another firework boomed overhead, and Buddy flinched, looking ready to flee further. Heart in his throat, Owen called out again, voice trembling. "Buddy, please, stay with me." The dog looked at the boy, recognition warring with instinct. He remembered this face, the child he had waited for all those lonely years. Once, he had run from his own family in the chaos of fire and smoke. Now he faced a choice: run again in fear, or place his trust in the boy whose voice he still loved. With a shudder, Buddy turned away from the deeper darkness and padded uncertainly toward Owen. The boy knelt down, arms outstretched. Buddy pressed his muzzle into Owen's shoulder. Around them, fireworks continued to flare in the sky, but for a moment, man-made thunder gave way to quiet understanding. Owen stroked the dog's back, tears in his eyes. "We'll get through this," he whispered, hugging Buddy close. Slowly, step by step, they made their way home, where Emma waited with anxious eyes. That night, Buddy's flight instinct was eclipsed by the pull of love and the warmth of a family. After the fireworks scare, the Carters took proactive steps to help Buddy overcome his trauma. They consulted a local trainer who specialized in rescue dogs with PTSD. Owen joined every session, showing Buddy that he had a reliable partner in this new world. Day by day, the dog's confidence grew. Eventually, Buddy began playing fetch in the backyard with Owen, chasing after tennis balls with unbridled joy. Laughter echoed across the lawn, accompanied by Buddy's cheerful barks. It was reminiscent of the old days before the fire, when the sound of Owen shrieking in delight and Buddy bounding around was the soundtrack of a carefree childhood. Owen noticed how Buddy would wag his tail more often, greeting him each morning with a gentle nuzzle. The nightmares, once so frequent, seemed to recede from the dog's eyes. At night, if there were strange noises outside, Buddy would bark protectively, but no longer cower in fear. He was reclaiming the life he once knew. Only this time, it was shaped by the experience of loss and the determination never to lose his family again. Buddy's story began with chaos and tragedy, an unexpected fire that tore him from those he loved. For 4 years, he remained anchored by loyalty, living under harsh conditions, never giving up faith that his family would return. His patience had become a symbol of hope for countless people who followed his journey. Now safe in Denver, Buddy embodied the message that no trial is too great for love to overcome. He had learned to trust again, and his family had learned the immeasurable value of never losing hope. In the final echo of their story, the Carters often reminded themselves, faith, sacrifice, and love can surmount any distance or hardship, reuniting hearts that once were torn apart. On one of those calm evenings, with the fireplace crackling, Owen rested his head against Buddy, eyes closed in contentment. Emma watched them, a soft smile on her face. The tragedy of the fire was behind them, overshadowed by the brilliance of a miracle. Buddy lifted his head, gazing at his family with the same gentle adoration he had harbored at the gas station for so many years. It was clear. This was home, and love had conquered all. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share this story with others, because I truly believe that loyalty is a treasure to be cherished.